No, this is not a cooking show. This is a demo, a demonstration of relationships. Basically, just to give you a visual, I have some octopus here. It has been tenderized, which means it's so coarse that it needs to sit in like vinegar or something overnight. And then you're going to have to put it in the boiling water so that it would be further tenderized before you want to sear it or grill it, things of that nature. This highly represents a lot of people out there who maybe got in relationships too quickly. Maybe they find themselves married now and they profess on Facebook and social media that they're married to their wives and they love her greatly, but you might have a friend like me who knows another friend who's having an affair with them. And it kind of is like, wow, really? And that should just give us kind of a heads up. If people are putting any kind of malarkey out on their pages and they're using social media as their sense of truth, but we know they're basically cheating, I'm just saying. We have to really take care over what we ingest through our senses and not be dummies. We kind of have to be smart that way. So if you do indeed find somebody that pays you a little bit of attention and you're so desperate for it, you might then find yourself clinging to a relationship that basically has you ensnared in tentacles. And it can become a living hell. The reason that that happens is because, first and foremost, you did not get yourself in check. And this happens greatly with people that are coming out of relationships. So my advice is don't take anybody else's personal dialogue like their 10 steps to freedom. A lot of churches do that, the celebrate recovery thing and that whole celebrate divorce recovery. I attempted that, and nobody wants to hear you have to be single for half the amount of years that you were with somebody. If you were with somebody for 10 years, you're looking at 5 years of celibacy, and half the people are like, oh, hell to the no. Because we're so empty inside that we just want to latch onto the next best thing. And some people think that relationship jumping is okay, and yet they got one tentacle for each person that they've shacked up with, all bound up in their memories and still attached to them. I mean, that's slimy in itself. Who wants all that baggage? And I would say the first thing to do is to say, you're fine alone. You have to know who you are inside and out. And if you don't, take some time to discover it. It doesn't have to be 5 years. It doesn't have to even be 1 year. And God's in control of your timing because He processes things differently in people. That makes us individual. That's why we all have our own fingerprints. None of us are a duplicate. Therefore, we shouldn't dumb ourselves down to just taking any Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes your way. If you're desperate, they know it. There's a level of, well, it's just for the time right now. Maybe you have an issue thinking that you're overweight and you can never find somebody else. Maybe you have a health issue. Maybe you have children and you've believed that lie that, you've got baggage because you've got kids. Maybe you dislike your kids and you're willing to go with the next guy, lift that one. You want to go with the next guy because he can offer you maybe financial freedom or some kind of hope. Maybe some people even get together as business transactions. He can give me a job. I have done these things. And let me tell you, the worst mistake I ever made was beginning to believe that just because I was out of a relationship, that my heart was ready for another one, especially divorce. There is some states that still abide by that year-long separation, and it's mindful. It's to protect you because there's plenty of things that God can do to get your relationship intact. See, these tentacles are not yet separated. They're still attached by a membrane. So we have to separate them. So we take it and we bring it to the chopping block and we're going to sever this membrane. That happens every time you have sex with somebody. Every time you have sex with somebody, you are now creating a soul tie. That sucker absolutely needs to be cut off from you so that you can be your single person and set free. So everybody that you've shacked up with emotionally and or sexually creates a spiritual bond. And you have to literally say, no more, I'm cutting this stuff out. If that person is still divorced, they're going through a separation, you know what? There's nothing wrong with you having an interest and a liking. But who knows? You could shack up with them and then be married to the next person that's putting out on Facebook, I love you. And behind the scenes, they're creeping at night. I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life. And there's nothing worse than being posted up with somebody if you don't even know if they're a Christian. You don't even know if they want a futuristic relationship. And You haven't talked about these heavy issues. These heavy issues need to be discussed. Why? Because it's your heart. We have to be the advocate for our own heart. If we're not, nobody else is going to do it. That means if we give our heart over and we expect this person to be truthful and honest and they wind up being deceptive, then we have to own that we're part to blame. Did you have a deep conversation? Did you ask the boy, does he believe in God? Okay, is that enough for you? Does he want to raise the dead and see all kinds of miracles? That's the man I'm waiting for. If I have to be single for the rest of my life, I'm good. I have contested that I need to be solo Angie because I can put myself in that boiling hot water and I can be tenderized. I know how to take care of myself. I can be tenderized. But for all the other people that still have attachments to their other relationships, they're going to have to cut the cord. They're going to have to say, I don't want any memories of that person in my emotions or in the bedroom. I don't want it. And therefore, they're going to separate themselves, and then they're going to be able to come into the boiling water with you and work out all those hot things, the fire, all the dross is going to come off. You're going to get something that's very soft and pliable in return. And I would just say, step out on a limb, gosh, I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of women, especially, who just feel that they are not dateable. Hello, you're absolutely lovable and completely allowed to be choosy and to change your mind. So if you've engaged with somebody that's not yet divorced, ask for a dream. That's exactly what happened to me. This person was saying, oh, I'm not divorced. It's almost finalized. And I had a dream. And in my dream, his wife found out about me. And she was like, oh, I want you back. And he called me the next day and he's like, my wife called. I'm like, I know she wants you back. I bless it. I had no right to be pissy or upset about that because I knew it basically was adultery. Okay. That covenant is a big deal. It's a big deal. And I know there's a lot of people that just think free sex and with Tinder and all this stuff, you have to know if you're compatible in the bedroom. That's bull. It's total bull. The person that you're supposed to be with, let me tell you, they're going to be willing to be thrown into the fire and they're going to be able to separate themselves from all the other slimy tentacles of all the past. They're going to be working on their healing, and that makes a dateable person. They're not going to have, some sidebar that they're talking to or texting all night long. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the mistress or what would you call the guy? Mister? I don't know. But my point is, have a great time getting linked up with somebody that can become very yummy. Literally, you can enjoy having good eats with, and you can do fun little things like go out to fancy dinners and make your octopus at home. But I would suggest waiting for the time when everybody's ready.